Inventory locations in CenterPoint for Agriculture allow you to maintain a balance for your either raised inventory or purchased inventory by the location where that inventory is located. It allows you to minimize the number of accounts that you have on your chart of accounts and still be able to get that level of detail as to how much inventory you have at each location. Before I show you how to add new inventory locations, I want to just give you an idea of where they get used. Okay, so I'm going to go to Setup and Accounts. And I'm going to open up my chart of accounts. I'm going to open up Assets, and then I'm going to go down to my raised crop inventories. You're going to notice here that I have 3 inventory accounts: inventory of corn, soybeans, and corn silage. But I want to know the balance of that inventory by production year and by inventory location. So there are features in CenterPoint that allow us to maintain the balances by different factors within the program. As you'll see here, if I go to the Balances tab here, you can see if I open up Assets and I open up Raised Crop Inventory, that underneath the inventory of corn, I have inventory for different production years, and underneath those production years for different locations. Okay, so we would need to set up these locations in order for the system to be able to track that information. We would not only be able to track the balances, but activity in and out of each location. To set up a new inventory location, you would simply need to go to Setup, and then you would need to go to General, and then Inventory Locations. Okay, to create a new inventory location, you would go ahead and click on the New button at the bottom. And you can give it an abbreviation. The abbreviation is optional, but if we were to go ahead and give it an abbreviation, we'd want to give it a name. The name is required. Everything after that is not required. You do have a place here to put in a contact name for that inventory location and the address, the physical address. You have a place for email information and fax. There is really not anything in CenterPoint that is using this information other than if you wanted to print it off on a report. The same with down at the bottom. But down at the bottom, it would allow you to choose the unit of measure of what is stored at that location. So if I'm storing bushels of grain there, I can choose bushels, and then what the capacity of that storage location is. So I could go ahead and put in the capacity at that storage location. But again, it's optional. So then that allows us then to go ahead and use the inventory location in transactions. And one of the main transactions that we use the inventory location in is not only the sale of an inventory, but also when we put raised crops or raised livestock into inventory. Those are done on some production screens. So I'm just going to bring up processes, and I'm going to bring up production, and I'm going to bring up a new crop production screen. But we have the same thing on the livestock production screen. And you'll notice here that as you're putting in new production, you have a field here for inventory location. And that would allow you, as you're putting in the transaction, to tag it to an inventory location. Also, when you're selling a crop, I'm going to bring up a receipts screen for selling a crop. So as you're selling a crop and you go ahead and indicate that you're selling out of inventory of corn, you're going ahead and putting in a sale. On the detail button, so every line of a transaction has a detail button there, and if I click on that detail button, you'll see that inventory location is also something that I can identify there. So I can identify when something is removed from an inventory location. And I'm just going to go ahead and clear that. And then there's also some transactions to do adjustments to those inventories to empty out those inventory locations. And those would also allow for the use of that field on those screens.